Hello. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. The wife came back. The wife came back home from the doctor. Now I have a little bit of alone time without any distractions. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it really. So sorry. Now I'm back. And I'll be doing the rest of the episode in a Cockney sort of English. Is everybody doing all right? Hope that everyone's doing all right. I'm just going to make a quick post onto the Instagram. It's going live. YouTube live stream continued. But no, I'm doing okay. I actually did a Scouse accent so well that I faked out an actual Liverpoolian the other day at work. Guy visited and I overheard him and I went up to him and I said, "Where are you lot from? Where are you lot from? Where are you lot from?" "Oh, no, mate, I was born here." "No, no, how did you really do it?" "No, mate, I was born here." I don't even really remember how to do it. Live is up again on the YouTube. Link in, don't say link in bio. Let's go. There was a guy who was in the chat who was talking about a lot of the non-biblical things that Catholics do. Ethan, it's going great, mate. How you doing? Going good. I wish we can get him back in because it'd be nice to talk to him about that. I had it in the chat. Now I don't know where it is now. Darn it. But yeah, I think the things that he says was repetitive prayers, things like that. Repetitive prayers, graven images, and he was saying just an image carved out of metal or stone or something like that. I don't remember, but the thing is that the Protestants are the ones that think they're the ones who idolize these things, right? They idolize the Bible in such a way that they act as if it's a living, breathing thing, right? It's not. It's been written. Can't be added to it, can't be taken away from, right? But they idolize this thing as if it has some sort of personhood where if you misinterpret it, which is totally subjective, right? The Protestant does not have a magisterium or a church that has who guided by the Holy Spirit uh, that has that authority to interpret scripture. Um, it's just kind of it's very hypocritical to say the least. But yeah, I was just looking at some of Bryson tweeted something that was very interesting. Let me see if I could find it. Because I did agree with it. Let's see if I can find it again because I did want to talk about let me see if I can get to my profile because I did reply to it. Here it is. I think he did like two things. It was just here, let me share the screen. Okay. He said, darn it, hold on. It was right here where he said that security guard at AFPAC was cringe, and I was at the event for a bit to support Nick. I like Sneeko, but don't grab a hat off my head without my permission. This is common sense for all men across all races. Yes, do not do that. Don't touch other men's property. Don't touch their clothes. Don't do that. Because if anyone smacked a hat off my head, they would get a swift punch to the face, or at least to the balls anyway. And then, I think that's the thing that he posted. So I wanted to try and talk to Bryson just about, how the event was and how it goes. Ethan, I had a live stream earlier that got interrupted by my daughter and I had to leave. But I did talk about AFPAC. I wasn't there. I knew some people who were there. I would have liked to have been there, but I have other responsibilities that hold me back from going to live events, multi-day live events like that. But it's kind of a bummer that it got canceled in the way that it did. And I hope Nick sues, the venue that was supposed to hold it. So yeah, that's it. I'm glad that they find that alternative venue after where I guess Sneeko got hit, but good for them. What is that? Can't even see what that is. Um, but hmm, yeah, that's it. Oh, look at this. This is what Spexo just posted. He says, "This is your, here's your based e-girl. This right here." Someone said, "What is that?" Flag of Israel, and that she's in like a weed store. And I am just saying, oh no. All I'm saying is don't trust these e-girls, especially don't trust anyone right away, right off the get-go. If he espouses some, right-wing talking point or even, extreme right-wing talking point, I usually hold off for a little bit until I can really see the validity of that person, until they go a little bit further. What else is happening? We're not running. It's weird. Like Twitter or X makes me angry in a way because I see a lot of, black pilling things on X, which I try to stay away from, but there's also a lot of funny things on X, people bickering with each other. Not the best place to have a conversation, but yeah, I try to. Okay, that's got to stop. Hey, Peter North. Hey, Mike. Been watching a long time. Rarely comment. Usually never catch it live. A lot of people don't catch us live. I do it randomly. I never really announce things. Um, they're sporadic. They're never scheduled. I'm sorry for that, but thank you for commenting and thank you for catching it live and thank you. Love what you do. Awesome. Thanks, man. Thanks, Peter North. Do I think she's a plant? No. I just think she wants attention, like most of these girls do. I just think they want attention. I'm telling you, there are certain women who I will lend a little bit more credence to their opinions or their takes. One of them is Rachel Wilson. She's married, she has 3 children, and she's a seasoned debater. I think she has clearly learned a lot from Andrew Wilson, her husband. I'm trying to get the both of them on the New Nation to talk more about the environment of debating and not necessarily Christianity, because I know that they're Orthodox, and I don't want to get into that whole discussion with them. But there are other women who are online personalities, I guess you could say, um, who I think really just shouldn't be on the internet, which is most of them. I think there are a couple who I admire. I admire Candace. I admire Gina. I do like Lauren Chen. I do like Lauren Chen. Michelle Malkin, obviously, but there are other like right wing conservative Christians that just have the dumbest takes. Some of these women have the dumbest takes that I've ever seen. Um, like one of them said, "If your husband can cook, he's gay." And I'm just thinking to myself, bitch, the most famous chefs in the world are men. Who do you expect you to cook a steak correctly? It's 9.5 times out of 10 gonna be a man. You think I don't know how to make a perfect, like, medium rare New York strip steak on a cast iron or even on a grill? Of course. I've always said this, and I think Gina and I were gonna make a video about this because Gina is also a very good, baker as well, and my wife is a phenomenal baker. And I think it's, when it comes to cooking overall, I think men are, way advanced, but when it comes to baking, I think women dominate baking. Which is kind of weird too, right? Because baking is a very, like, left brain thing, right? You have to be very scientific about baking times, about measurements, all that kind of stuff. And I think women really do have the minds for that because women are really good multitaskers. That's obvious, especially when running a home, dealing with kids, dealing with cooking, dealing with with running the household. I think women um, use that sort of multitasking ability, especially to lend itself to baking. But guys, when it comes to cooking, I think we excel at that. And my wife is a great cook as well. I've taught her how to make a really good hamburger. I remember maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's my dog who's probably about to kill my daughter. Not a pit bull. But she was like, "Hey, when should I flip this burger?" She was cooking a burger on the cast iron, and it was one of those. Costco makes really great. Hey, babe. Are the Costco burgers, were those Wagyu beef or the grass fed? Right. So Costco makes, I think, a package of like 18 frozen grass fed Wagyu. Hold on. They're grass fed Wagyu. Okay. I'm going to lock this. Oh, fly the plane, bub. And be careful of mom. Yeah, they're grass fed. They're grass fed Wagyu. But I remember she was cooking on the cast iron, and she asked me a question. She said, "Hey, when should I flip this burger?" As it was cooking, and I said, "See this juice that's coming up from the burger right now? It's usually a good indication of when you should flip, but let a little bit more juice come out of that, and that's when it's time to flip it. And after you flip it, maybe cook it for another minute or so." And she did, and it was perfect. And this is something that, guys. No, I'll tell you guys a funny story from our past weekend. And Saturday, I was running late for work, and I went to go turn the shower on. And when I turned the shower on, I heard like a crack, and the water barely came on. And I guess what had happened was the plastic from inside the shower handle broke, and it wasn't able to grip the valve, the shower valve. So I'm like, oh man, another thing. I don't know what's going on. And so my wife is just saying, just get in my shower. We have separate bathrooms, and in those separate bathrooms, we each have a shower in it. She has a bathtub and a shower, and the bigger bathroom, I just have kind of like a guest bathroom that has a stand-up shower in it. But the key to any successful marriage or any relationship between a man and a woman, I'm telling you, there isn't any other indicator. There really isn't. Separate bathrooms. It's it's like it's literally my man cave, if that makes any sense. I kinda think that the term man cave is kinda gay and cringe. "Oh, I need my own separate space away from my wife, and so I can drink my beers and play my video games." That's gay, but a man having his own bathroom to sit upon his own throne, for lack of a better word, that's the key to a happy marriage, I'm telling you guys. But anyway, I'm showering, and she says, "Hey, I was able to turn the water off, I used pliers to turn the water off," and, yeah. So I got out of the shower. I'm getting ready to go to work, and she's like, I think I can fix it. We'd probably just have to replace the handle or whatever." And I'm just saying, you won't be able to fix it. You're not a plumber. You don't understand how this thing works. So funny enough, she ordered a piece. She went down a Reddit hole, ordered a piece off of Amazon, and then it came yesterday. And on Father's Day, she replaced the part of the shower and fixed it, and then posted about it on social media. And yes, my wife is now a plumber, but she's not. But anyway, it's just one of the things. And I was having a conversation about this with her the other day. I said, "Do you think it's appropriate that I would say that the wife runs the house, but the father runs the household?" So if like everything inside of the house physically, managing the kids, making sure that the kitchen is clean, even cooking, that whole aspect is on the wife. That is the role that the wife has, to make sure that the house is in order. But when I'm talking about the household, sorry about that, but the household itself, the entirety of the home falls upon the shoulders of the father, bringing home the money to be able to feed, clothe, and house his family. I think that those two roles should be working in perfect relationship with each other. Because I think without that, a lot of the burden goes on to one person. And though the father is the head of the house, the man is the head of the house, the home, the household. I think that the woman, the wife, the mother runs the house, if that makes any sense. It probably doesn't. It's probably very confusing. Um, let's see, Mike, if you could if you could, this is worded very weird. Mike, if you have more than one type of firearm than you carry. Do you carry often, and do you have various protocols for being alone versus being with family? Uh, Mike, if you could. Oh, if you could. Do you have more than one type of firearm you carry? I'm a little confused. Yes. Hold on. I'm going to lose my mind. I carry a Glock 19 appendix daily. Um, so I don't know. What do you mean when you carry more than one type of firearm? Well, I have a Glock 19, and I also have a Glock 43, and the Glock 43 is my wife's gun, but sometimes I'll wear that to church if it's a clothing or heat thing, and I don't want this big gun on me. Um, and there are different protocols for being alone versus being with my family. Being alone, it's usually um, just the appendix carry with the extra magazine in the carrier. When I'm with family, when I'm with traveling, I do bring my rifle. I bring the rest of my kit. I bring extra magazines. I bring my plate carrier. Um, that'll be the type of thing. I'll bring my chest rig too. So that's the type of thing. If I envision, we're in traffic, it's bumper to bumper, and someone just starts popping off, and I can't get out. We can't go turn around. We can't get out of there. That's when I'll probably deploy rifles and do my best. Um, it's another thing too. Like we're in the parking lot of a big store, or like at a Costco or at a Publix or something like that, and another issue like that is happening where I'd like to feel a little bit more secure and have a little bit more firepower, if that makes any sense. And obviously that changes. It's just dependent on the day. But yeah, but I'll usually carry the rifle in the car if we have like a day outing or something like that. I've been thinking about starting up some content going over my setups, philosophy, and protocols as an armed Catholic father. Yes, and you should. Catholics do have to be a little bit more conscientious, just I guess be a little bit more conscious about carrying, especially to church. But also too, um, we're called to love one another as ourselves. So you should always put yourself in a situation where you are able to defend the lives of others, your family, and yourself if any violence is enacted on them or you. So yeah, I think every Catholic man needs to really be conscious of that. Um, my wife as well, and we both have an entire system for our family. I've never seen anyone on YouTube ever explain like an entire family protection setup. Yeah, there are some channels that do that. I don't know if Catholics have done that explicitly. Um, the the one thing I try to avoid is maybe making a lot of that stuff public. Like, I don't think I would ever do a YouTube video where I'm kind of like mapping out my house, because that's just bad OPSEC, operational security. You don't ever want to give people any insight or reason until insight or I guess ways to break down the um, you don't wanna give them ways to break into your house, basically, or you don't wanna give them ways to fuck with you. So, yeah, my house is set up in such a way where if things are happening in the front, we're either able to leave, get out, defend, or go on an offensive. Um, so yeah, I think about that daily. There are certain things I tell my wife, if anyone's breaking into the house, take the kids here, your gun's here, I will do this. Um, but I'm also not in I'm not in a position to go like give like a room clearing video on Instagram or on YouTube as if I'm some sort of authority on that. No, I would definitely leave that to actual experts. Um, yes. Oh, you even have your own system in places where it'd be illegal to have one. Well, the only see in Tennessee, the only real illegal place, like quote unquote illegal place to have one would be in a federal building, a state building, something where you have to go through metal detectors, like let's say courthouse or the state house or something like that. And it sucks because obviously you don't want to put your faith in strangers for your safety, but usually there are more armed personnel in state and federal buildings. Not that really matters. Um, but yeah, any sort of retail environment or um, I don't know. I guess like public place that does have no firearms allowed. Uh, yeah, do what you think is best for you and your family. I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm not going to tell you to do something that is quote unquote illegal. So on Rumble, why would anyone have to put it on Rumble? There are some good um, videos on YouTube about this sort of thing from the usual suspects. I think that would do that. Let's see here. Let's see what's happening on Instagram. If there were any questions from the last one, because I didn't delete that. Didn't delete that question sticker. No, 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 no. Instagram, God, Instagram really does a great job at shadow banning things. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, let's see. Yeah, apparently that girl, who's it, Lily? Yeah, she's being called out for the grift. This is from Kangman. Let's see what Kangman had to say about this. Her body language is telling, her voice shaking, her eyes wandering, no certainty or conviction whatsoever. She doesn't actually believe this. She's changing her tune now because of the backlash on her previous video encouraging people to have children out of wedlock. It's so obvious that fixing America and restoring families are not actual goals for her. And no, men, you shouldn't wife up just anyone. This is terrible advice. A bad wife will destroy your life. I've refrained from speaking on this woman for a while to ascertain this girl's beliefs and intentions, but it's pretty clear that this is all a grift. She was simply tired of PC culture and lashed out because of how stifling the current cultural climate is with the pronoun insanity and asymmetrical racial hierarchy, but has no positive vision for America or coherent political thoughts. She's just making it up on the go, saying whatever she thinks her right wing audience wants to hear. There was this, I believe Miss B, I believe Miss B put it on the internet that there's the red pill community. Can you hear my daughter singing in the background? Can anyone hear that? W in the chat if you can if you can hear my daughter singing right now. Um, Someone was talking. I think it was Miss B, who I do follow on X, was saying something like the red pill community was saying, you should never wife up an ex porn star or something like that. And though I would really agree with that. That's probably not the best thing to do is to wife up an ex porn star. But if you were dating, let's say you were dating a girl, you met her at church or you met her after mass or something like that, and you saw that she was a really faithful girl, and she was really serious about. I don't like calling anyone devout, right? Because it's not a fair judgment that I can just put upon anybody other than a saint. But if you see someone who takes her faith really seriously, and then let's say while you're dating, you find out, she did at some point do adult entertainment, whether it was actual, you can't say porn on the internet, corn and people. No, she did actual explicit adult material, or she sold photos of herself or something like that. The red pill community says, no, you can never wife that up. That's just a horrible mistake. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I do get that. I do see that. But someone who's had a genuine change of heart, is it wrong to is it wrong to not want to have a relationship with those women, especially if those women are practicing Catholics and who take their faith very seriously? Would it be right to exclude a woman from a marriage because of that? I guess I do understand the arguments against, and I do understand the arguments for. So I was wondering, it's very interesting. I don't know how you guys feel about that. If you could make a hoe a housewife, I guess I would say a former hoe. Former hoe? Could you make a former hoe a housewife? You can't make an active hoe a housewife, that's for sure. Hmm. I'm so happy to see Candace being at, like, the top of her podcasts. She's right behind Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson on the Spotify top podcast list. That's really something crazy. What's even crazier, I think it's she's ahead of Ben Shapiro too, which is really funny. Ked, I was thinking about joining Knights of Columbus. I don't have any experience with them. I would say join them. I hear nothing but good things about Knights of Columbus. Ked says he wouldn't risk it. Yeah, I guess so. I see that. Your daughter's singing in the background. Even if we can hear that, it's not going to bother us. Just saying, it bothers me a little bit. Not that she's singing. It's great that she's singing, but she's repeating it over and over and over again. It's very loud. So when I'm trying to hear myself talk and read all this stuff at the same time, hearing her kind of sing scream, I get it. It doesn't bother you, but also it's a lot more amplified on this end than it would be on your end. But but yeah, no, it doesn't really bother me. What bothers me was the banging on the door. That bothers me. Mm. Oh, and I was saying I was saying in that last stream before we got cut off, I wanna see I want to see debate between Nick and Charlie Kirk, moderated by Candace. I volunteered myself that I would get in the middle of that debate and I would host it somewhere. Um, but I think the ultimate moderator for a debate like that would be someone like Candace, because I think Charlie Kirk and Nick need to sit down and actually talk about things. Why would Nick be shut out from an event like TPUSA unless TPUSA was very heavily influenced by Zionist donors and board members and stuff like that, which I'm assuming that it is. So it would be nice to see. It would be nice to see a debate like that. I think that would be awesome. Well, Charlie would get cooked. Yeah, I think in certain things. Yeah, I think in that aspect of the debate regarding Zionism, yeah, probably. But oh man, I'm trying to think of like who the most moderate, and when I say moderate, the most moderate moderator would be, because Candace obviously has a little bit of bias when it comes to that. Um, so that would be very interesting. Nick would run the room. Yeah, I think he would. I think if there was an open forum and anyone was able to go, it wasn't like a TP USA event, or it wasn't like an AF event, but just anyone's willing to buy tickets. I think Nick would run a room. Yeah. Okay. I'm just looking at a tweet of one of these women I was talking about who should probably just shut up. Um, Oh, sorry. Yeah, zoned out for a second. I'm sorry. Yeah, what else is there to talk about? I see. I wish I was able to do, that stream continuous. Oh, Pack road trip home. Who's this? Lucas Gage and John Wayne. Don't know who that is. They're road tripping. Catholic chill space. Hmm. Sorry, I'm here. I'll help you. I'll see you guys. I'm scrolling. This picture of it's Elon Musk parody. Okay. Oh, this is another person. This Morgan Ariel person is just another one of these weird. I don't trust them. I don't trust any of them. Spexo is a good follow. Yeah, this is okay. This is probably the worst person to follow on X. I don't. I just see his stuff all the time. This dude Gabriel Hughes is a Christian and a dad and a pastor of Providence Church. He posted this meme. Oh man, I stepped in something pagan, and it's an image of the Virgin of Guadalupe, which is just Mary. And it's like this is just a bad meme, because Mary isn't a pagan god. Mary is the mother of Jesus Christ, who is God. So it's just very odd that it's just not even a good meme. I don't get it. Is this something that Europeans just don't have AC? Like not even window units? Because I saw that story of London having some sort of heat wave, or England having some sort of heat wave, and when you show the Celsius to Fahrenheit, it was something like only 74 degrees or 78 degrees or something like that, which 78 degrees is absolutely lovely. Um, and then everyone says, how come they just can't turn on their AC? What's up? And then apparently nobody has AC outside of hotels, modern hotels in Europe. Someone says, well, it's based on the way that our houses are constructed. And even so, just no window units. Um, honestly, you have no reason to pay attention to any of these women anyway. You're married. None of us have any reason to care about these women, or if their opinions if we are married. No, I can definitely care about the opinions of women, even if I'm married or not. And I have the luxury of discerning for myself if these women are trustworthy or not. I don't look at them, like, I'm not ogling them in a lustful way or anything like that. I'm just, I'm seeing their shit takes on the internet, and I don't like it, and it doesn't bother me necessarily. I'm just like, "Ugh," another person to mute or another person to hide they have to say, and I would do the same thing if I were unmarried as well. But you're right, these hoes ain't for us, it's true. And most of the time, I divert my opinion. I'll say, "Hey, look at this. Tell me what you think about this." And just some dumb woman's opinion, and my wife will usually have the right take on it. Um, my wife is so good. My wife is really, really good. She's the best. Mm. Oh, Taylor Marshall is doing a live right now. I'm trying to get him on the show. We DM'd a couple times. Um, I also take interest in women's twins, trends, especially since I have a daughter on the way. Congratulations to you, a daughter. A daughter will soften you as a man. I've been trying to, like, I'm telling you, my daughter is lively and spirited, and she makes it very hard to father the way I want. But I gotta go to confession regarding that. It's tough. It's tough because you want the best for your kids, and you want your kids to be the best that they can, and especially when they're toddlers and stuff like that. It's a very aspirational way of thinking because these are literal animals who are able to run around and talk. There's really no cognitive thing going on in there. So the things that they do frustrate you, and they're supposed to frustrate you, and sometimes I can't keep it together as much as I want. And the last thing that I want is my daughter to have memories of, um, kind of not a mean father, but, you know, a harsh father, maybe if that's the right word. I don't want my daughter to remember like, oh man, when I was really little, my dad was pretty harsh. So I'm trying to grow in that. I'm trying to be a little bit better. Um, yes, that's what I'm doing now. Kids that round two, so I can get a boy. I'm saying like that's what we did. We were blessed by having one of each, so now anything is a blessing. And anything would have been a blessing anyway, but I think every parent wants a boy and a girl first go around so that anything after that is just a win. Um, it's yeah. I have a feeling if we did have another one, I thought that we were gonna have two girls, honestly. So him being a boy was very surprising when we found out, and we found out before the birth, obviously. But yeah, he's so chill. My little guy is so chill. He's so nice. He's so easy. Um, I love it. Let's see. Hmm. I think so. I think having a daughter first is definitely a blessing. You get oh man, what's happening? Like the people are talking about Alex Jones. This is Amiri King posted this. Let's see what he says. Whenever Alex Jones claimed Sandy Hook was fake, psyop, whatever, I dismissed it. It's Alex Jones. He's always done some crazy shit. Why would they fake something like that anyway? Boom, filed in my mind are not worth my time. Then he was successfully sued for $1.5 billion because of it. $1.5 billion because he said the incident was a hoax, no cease and desist. Just boom, they're going to take everything this man built the last 30 years. That's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that Alex Jones got hit with that lawsuit and was ordered to pay that amount of money for saying something was a hoax. Yet, I don't know if the family of the killer or even the school or anything or even the county or the state or something like that. I mean, someone had to, you know, something had to have happened along the lines that allowed this kid to do what he did. But, it's just like, those things can a gun company be held at fault for a mass shooting? And it's like, well, no. No, it's the person who committed the mass shooting is at fault, or if the parents were negligent in some sort of way, like they left the safes. We don't have gun safes, by the way, but if they left the gun safe open, or if their child has access to the guns or something like that, then yeah, they could be liable for that. But Alex Jones, who's just a commentator, who just said something was a hoax. I don't understand how that guy was ordered to pay that much money while virtually nobody else was punished in such a way is beyond me. That's kind of crazy. And I'm not even a big Alex Jones guy, but that's nuts to me. I don't get it. Suleiman and Sneeko and David Duke, the interview about to break the internet. Oh no, that's not good. Ooh, this is not good. If the rumors are true, I'm going SSPX. If I have to pick between taking my kids to the Novus Ordo versus the SSPX, the choice is an easy one. What about the FSSP, or what about Latin Novus Ordo, or what about a Reverent Mass? This just seems kind of drastic. Don't have one near me. That's weird. That's weird. I've never understood that. I'm gonna go to a church that is out of communion with Rome because I don't like the Novus Ordo. Why? I get the reasons of not appreciating the Novus Ordo, but it just seems so weird to just completely, willingly enter into schism. It doesn't make any sense. God, this guy continues. Please guide him. Okay, sorry. Did you know Kobe Bryant was Catholic? Learned this at Mass yesterday. Oh, Kobe Bryant was Catholic. That might be someone who I have to add to the Catholics you didn't know were Catholic list. Kobe Bryant, though, I don't know. Were the allegations against Kobe true? Did they have any merit? The rape allegations against Kobe Bryant. If so, not a good look. If just cannon fodder against him, then we may have to look into that. But yeah, someone told me that I should do Andy Warhol on the Catholics you didn't know who were Catholic list. But that's one thing. I need to find out if these Catholics were just nominal Catholics, or if they were reverent Catholics, or if they actually went to Mass, and if they were actually practicing Catholics, I guess would be the better word to say. That's gonna be the way to go, because the first one I kind of messed up. The first Catholic you didn't know were Catholics, and Robert Shaw may not have even been Catholic. His uncle was a Catholic convert, and his uncle paid for his schooling. But I didn't see anything that said that Robert Shaw himself had converted, so that was very wrong. Tom Brady, well, the coach of the Celtics, apparently is very Catholic. He gets to the arena early to pray the rosary, which is kind of nice. I just posted a video about that on the feed, in a story. So maybe he'll be one the next people. But a lot of people know that he's Catholic because he's a current figure. Hmm. Sorry, I'm just kind of scrolling and seeing what's going on. PineSap gave a good speech at the AFPAC. Candace Owens says America shouldn't have entered World War II against Hitler. Yeah, real. I wonder, and she said this at like the Turning Point event. And I guess this is another good thing. Like, look at this. This is what someone says: winning, quote unquote, winning World War II. Country becomes borderless economic zone, infinite debt slavery, infinite immigration, culture, race. 6-year-old son becomes your daughter. 15-year-old daughter becomes sex worker. Government and media call you evil for existing. Get thrown in jail for asking why. Yep, basically. The real argument Oh, this guy. The real argument is we shouldn't have entered World War One. That's true. I think World War One might have been the more catastrophic war as far as, what the West has turned into with the basic elimination of the royal families in all of those countries, in Russia, in England, and in Germany. You see the fall of monarchs, and you see the installation of all these quote unquote democracies with their parliaments, and you say, was life better then before that, or is life better now? Um, if you're somewhat comfortable now, you can make I guess you could make the subjective argument that life's better now. But looking at the world from, an outside perspective and looking at history, the modern day West is done. It's Rome for the most part. It's the fall of Rome. So yeah, man. I mean, I guess that like America was unique in that way that there was no royal, right? There was no royal system. There wasn't a monarchy. They rebelled against the monarchy, and for what? Like someone was talking to me recently that, well, the Protestants founded America due to their rebellion from the monarchy, which was Anglican, by the way, but it didn't matter. But it's like they created the greatest country to ever exist. Like, well, where do you see that? Where do I see the greatest country to ever exist? I mean, like, the greatest country to ever exist is now funding or participating in wars that has nothing to do with its own self-interest, right? Ukraine and Russia, um, Israel, Palestine. It is silencing its own Christian citizens for defending the right to life. You can be outside of a church and yelling at church participants who are going inside of that church, calling them, rape apologists and whatever you want, and nothing happens. But you can pray outside of a Planned Parenthood and get arrested and sentenced to 10 years in prison, in federal prison, by the way. That doesn't sound like a great country. You can have a country that is however many trillions of dollars in debt to other countries, but its citizens are victims of usury. That's okay, right? People can go into debt, and they can take out they're able to take out loans that they can't pay off, and that's okay. There's no punishment for the usurers, for the people who are lending these monies to people like that, especially giving them horrible home rates and things like that. It is a country where pharmaceutical countries aren't, or where pharmaceutical companies aren't liable for the harm that they cause to the people who take their drugs. This doesn't make any sense. And other pharmaceutical, um, I guess, companies who profit on the castration of children. Also, the medical industry of, you have these psychologists who sign off on these types of medical castrations for children. How is that a great country? I don't I don't see how this was turned into like the greatest country. I don't see that anywhere. It's like when, like, the whole MAGA thing, like, "Make America Great Again." Well, when? When I'd be like one of those lefties now, I'd be like, "Well, when was it great? When was it ever great?" Like, maybe during the Coolidge era, like, maybe those 2 or 3 years during that, but, like, when was it actually great? I'm trying to pinpoint a moment when America was actually great, and I can't think of one. I think there were great things that it accomplished, but to call the country as a whole great is kind of ridiculous. It was founded by, like, a bunch of fags who didn't wanna pay taxes. But that's the state of the world everywhere, is you paid taxes to someone. There was never any country or never any race of people anywhere in the history of the country who didn't pay taxes. And not only that, the greatest country in the world allowed itself to have a federal income tax levied against their citizens, which is absolute theft. There was never supposed to be that, but ultimately there was one. There's now an education system that indoctrinates children, that took Christ out of the classroom. You can't even pray in a classroom anymore. It worships at the altar of faggotry, I guess you can say, than it does of Christ. Like, how is that a great country? If you wanna know when America was great, just look at a time where people say America was racist. Yeah. Yeah, let's stop paying taxes to monarchs just so we can pay a new foreign country in Israel. Yeah, 100%. Is IDG getting back together? Oh, man, sometimes I wish. Sometimes I wish it was. Sometimes it'd be nice. It'd be nice, but, um, David Wynn, you know, it's probably not going to happen. It would be nice. It would be nice to have, like, a little catch-up episode or something like that. I think it'd be cool. I mean, there is a certain group of people whom are responsible for the removal of monarchs all over the world. We could talk about it. Yeah, I mean, the Bolsheviks. The Bolsheviks were made up of Jews. That's fine. I mean, we you could say that. It's just a fact. All of the early Marxists were Jews. Yep. 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 Yeah. And what else? What else do you say? I want to hear what Candace has to say though, right here, because I miss. Sorry, I'm watching. I wish you guys can hear this. I wish there was a way to. Yeah, the guy. Yeah, is afraid to say that word. Jews. Kind of weird. There's just a certain group of people who clearly make things worse and who are in positions of power that make bad decisions. They're heavily represented on one side, and I think to say that that's controversial is, it's a little weak to say that it's controversial. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. If you look at the psychological or the psychiatry industry, or if you look at the medical industry, if you look at the legal industry, if you look at any of these industries, you'll see that there is a heavy representation of a certain group of people. And to even mention that is, is controversial. I don't think it's controversial. It's just, it is what it is. Candace is a chocolatey queen. She's a chocolatey queen. Yes, she's a chocolatey queen. I'm gonna get George on the show. Trying to think of like I wonder what George and I would talk about. Like, what can we talk about on the show? I guess what I can do is I can, announce George would be coming on the show, ask questions. We can get like a whole boatload of questions. Do a Q&A with George Farmer. Ooh, let me text him that. Text him. Would you ever want to do a Q&A with George Farmer? Farmer episode. You've done a lot about your personal history. It could be cool. This is like a live texting session. It could be cool to get some insight about the goings on in today's world. We'll see what George says. Hopefully, he doesn't shoot me down too nice. What is exactly why I've been following you since IDG? IDG was such a good show. IDG was a good show. I wish it was still around. That would be the ideal. That would be the ideal life. Well, no, I guess that would be an ideal. That'd be the ideal sort of a living to make. Living off a podcast, doing a show with a friend. But life happens, and ultimately people can disagree with each other, or people can harbor feelings and resentments and things like that. I'm not saying that's what happened between us. I'm just saying, like, it's got to be tough when working with a friend, right? Working with friends, it's kind of like why I enjoy my new job is because I don't know anybody there really, and it's not an environment where you develop like strong or close relationships. Just go there, do your job, and you go home, and I like that. I guess that's why it's like, to do content on your own is nice. Have your own podcast is cool. Um, but then you kind of put a lot of pressure upon yourself to make it successful. At least when you're doing it with someone else, especially if you're doing it with a friend or a colleague, you guys can both take on the responsibility and have more than more than one mind in coming up with things and strategies and stuff like that. But then I guess at a point there can be too many, as they say, cooks in the kitchen. No usury amongst each other. Usury should just be outlawed. Like these interest rates that people like, imagine, like the credit card interest rates, they're like 24%. It's kind of insane. It's kind of insane. I think there needs to be better education on living within means, right? There's got to be some good corporations, or I don't know, organizations that can help people get out of kind of crippling debt. Because it's tough. It's tough, and it's very personal. A lot of people are having problems with this, and that's why I think I forget who posted. I think it was Pure World Truth posted. The type of society that he would enjoy being in, and one was like an anti-capitalist society. And I think I've started to feel more and more anti-capitalist as I've grown up, and just to see the type of greed people display is kind of odd. This whole sort of especially on the internet with the financial coaches and things like that, and just it's almost like the new sort of Wolf of Wall Street. It's being able to completely rip people off, without making it look like you're ripping people off. But that's what, like, selling courses. Buy my course for this. Like, oh, okay, you're ripping people off. Um, or what do they call those? Multi-level marketing, that type of stuff. That stuff's been going on forever, though. That's not the cause of like my anti-capitalistic mindset, though. It's just more seeing a country and a government and a whole economic system being taken over by greed. There's this interesting um, thing in Latin American countries. I know that Dominicans do it, but my mother was talking about this. There's this thing called the is it called the Usulutan, or it has a weird name, but basically what it is it's a collective. Let's say it's you and your 10 friends, and every week you put in $100, right? And each week that $1,000 is given to one person, where the person can pay off bills, save it, buy food, whatever. But the people are chosen every week. Each person of the 10 gets the $1,000 in lump sum. So if you're the 10th person, it sucks because you put in $1,000. So basically, if you're the 10th person on the 10th week, you get your $1,000 back, and it just starts all over again. So basically, it's like this zero risk thing. And I mean, you can request which week you get your money or something like that, but you're giving in $1,000. So you're coming out zero, if that makes any sense. I know it's very confusing, but it's just like, I guess they call it a like a savings circle or something like that. But I know it's pretty prominent in Latin American communities and in Latin American countries. And I've always just thought, like, that'd be kind of cool if, an app existed or a website existed on that basis where people put in and you're able to withdraw, right? If that makes any sense. I know you guys are probably thinking like Mike's Office Rocker, but let's suppose that that would be a great way to pay down a credit card, right? Let's say if you had like $10,000 in credit card debt, where if you're just making the minimum payments and then you're being hit by interest, right? And you're having to pay, I don't know, something like $450 per payment every month. What if every 10 weeks, month or every 10 weeks, 2 months, I guess you would be paying off the same thing. So that, I mean, would you? Yeah, kind of be paying a little bit more, I guess. But I mean, you are investing the same thing. Yeah. So maybe the whole saving circle is a scam in a way. Maybe I'm falling for my own, what is it? Multi-level marketing in a way. What do they call those things? I have to find out what they call those things. Let me go into here. What is it called? Um, Latin savings circles. Oh, this is an informal rotating savings club where a group of everything you want. Tandas or cundinas. Panieros, there's Susus in West Africa and the Caribbean. Tanda, an informal loan club. Let's just talk about this because this is interesting. In Latin America, Tanda is the regional version of a rotating savings and credit association. It is a form of a short-term, no-interest loan among a group of friends and family. The structure. The Tanda is one of the most commonly filed informal associations in Mexico, with 31% of the population actively participating in one. Tanda may be managed in many ways. The way it usually works is a group of people that know each other get together to collect money either weekly, monthly, yearly, to help each other financially. Participants can come up with any rules as long as they benefit the group. Usually there's an amount of money, a number of people. That's basically what I just told you. They can either raffle the numbers or make the decision who needs the money the most. It all depends on the group decision. As an example, a tanda is formed between 10 friends and family. Each member gives $100 every 2 weeks to the group's organizer. At the end of the month, one participant gets the pot, $2,000, or each member gives $100 weekly, and each week one of the 10 participants get the pot, $1,000. This continues until each member has received the pot. They're formed for many reasons, but often because at least one member is in need of money to pay a debt right away or an emergency arises. In the U.S., it can take many months or even years to get the Social Security number needed to open traditional banking and credit cards. Tandas provide a way for immigrants and others to borrow and save when they don't have access to other means. But they can also be a form of no pressing financial obligations. They also serve important social and emotional functions in the everyday lives. For women in particular, tandas facilitate social networks and make them feel less isolated living in Los Angeles. Younger generations have created companies that modernize tandas with online platforms. Yahoo Finance, for instance, created the short-lived Tanda app, which allowed friends and families to participate in the same group without being closely located geographically. These platforms help solve the problems. Oh, criticism. The Conducef recommends to avoid participating in tandas giving as reasons the inflation, lack of investment returns, the possibility of causing social distress, low liquidity, and risk of scam, and other financial experts agree by the same reason. Yeah, but it sounds, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think the Tanda might be the way. Tandas provide a way for immigrants and others to borrow and save when they don't have access to other means of banking, but they can also be formed with no pressing financial obligations. I mean, it does kind of sound interesting, right? Like, doesn't it sound kind of interesting? Yeah, working with women is usually a bad idea. Yes, no e-girls. What stop saying there's no e-girls. I don't like the e-girls. I take back what I said about N-Word Girl. I had not been on X today. It's so over. Yeah, it's very over for her. And it has been over to her. Oh, cuchubal. That's what it's called in El Salvador. The cuchubal. That's right. El Salvador and Guatemala, they call it the cuchubal. That's right. See, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, okay, if you get paid bi-weekly, right? You're taking $200 out of your paycheck, each paycheck. And then one of those days you might get that 1,000 back. But if you get the pot that week, then technically you have to give 100 the next week. So you're really only getting like 900 net to pay down stuff or to save. But for the month, you can save $600. Well, no, not for the month. For 8 weeks, I guess for 10 weeks, right? For 10 weeks, $1,000. I'm just saying, like, could you save that? Because if you're only taking out $200 per paycheck, that can add to your savings account if you're just throwing that money into savings. If you're putting $1,000 into your savings every 10 weeks, I guess you can have about $5,000 in savings by the end of that year just from that. But you're also contributing every week. So it's almost like not a savings thing, because it just cancels itself out. But that's not your only form of income, right? So you are making money on top of that. Kuchubal. It could I look, listen, if I could do like a New Nation Kuchubal or a Tanda, I think that could be cool. We get 10 people involved and every week we just put in $100. Like that would be pretty interesting. Um, I doubt anybody would do that. I'm about to text this to a buddy. Um, This is a very interesting idea. Like, I don't understand how any of you guys aren't talking about an informal loan club, like, or aren't being like, Mike, you're kind of off your rocker right now. Um, oh, we're going to watch. What movie are we going to watch tonight? We're going to watch the Gunpowder movie about who's it? Robert Catsby. We're going to watch that movie tonight. I think I've been hearing good things about it. Let me see. It does. It does, but almost in a way, like, think about it. Would you rather put in $100 every week to a kuchabal or a tanda with, like, let's say, like, some brown day laborers, or have to go to a bank where you're now reliant on a certain group of people's loan with a high interest rate for an emergency? Hmm. And what would you rather do if you had to pick between the two, right? Hmm. Even thinking about this kuchabal, I think about it every now and then because I remember talking to my mom about it. So my mom would say like, "Oh, going to hang out with the group or whatever." And I'm like, "What's this group?" And she's like, "Oh, it's the kuchabal." But it's people that she's known from her town for a very long time, so they're not just strangers. That's very interesting. I remember one lady's daughter was getting married, and she was like, "Oh, I want to pay for the flowers or something." So they were like, "Okay, who so and so gets it this week." Um, that's interesting. Hmm. Ked said your spelling is all over the place. I don't even know what you're talking about right now. Hmm. There's like an article about this. I'm going off like the Wikipedia. Okay, let's see. Kuchubal. Tandas in the informal economy of Mexico. I don't want this. In Mexico, over 77 million people are without access to bank accounts. This begs the question, how does one save money without savings account? The United States is relatively easy to access financial services. A whopping 94% of citizens over the age of 15 have a bank account. The formal one in Mexico. Tandas are rotating savings group between friends or coworkers. Every member of the group puts money into a pool, and in some cases, their entire paycheck for the week, and then the pool is rotating between groups members. This allows individuals to make a major purchase that exceeds what they could normally afford with their weekly salary. Think of it like a short-term loan, except the money is held by people instead of a bank, and there's no interest collected. The group decides how much to contribute and how the pool will be awarded. Some tandas set a predetermined order for the rotation, while others are decided at random. Tandas are not just for friends and small businesses. It's quite common for employees at Fortune 500 companies in Mexico to participate in tandas as well. For example, Marcos has an emergency medical expense and needs money to pay for it. 6 coworkers pool their paychecks together for the week, or a predetermined portion of their paychecks, contributing 5,000 pesos each. Marcos now has 30,000 pesos to pay off his medical expense. The group trusts that Marcos will contribute his paycheck to the pool every week, and in the future, a different group member will receive the pool next week. I mean, I guess it's kind of like putting, a percentage of, hold on. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. It's basically like having a 401k plan that you're putting, but you don't have access to the money right away. So, like a 401k traditional one, you can put, up to a max up to 10% of your paycheck towards your 401k, your Roth IRA, and your company will match up to 4% of that. So if you're putting, if your paycheck is $1,000 and you put in 10%, put in $100, your company will put in $40 for you, but you don't have access to that money right away. And if you do want access to it earlier, you're paid a penalty, not only to you're paying the IRS, and then you're paying the company who handles your retirement account. You have to wait until you're 65 in order to access those funds, that kind of thing. You have to actively retire. So that's kind of like a bummer, but it's very interesting that something like this hasn't made. Um, Yeah, well, let's look at the problems with Tanda, because we know the pros. Problems of Tanda is their distribution of the pool is not always fair. For example, if Maria hadn't planned her shopping ahead of time and it's Marco's week, she may not have the money to buy groceries. The rotation is often decided randomly, though sometimes it is determined up front. There's little incentive to build long-term savings because the money is rotating between group members on a weekly basis. Further, group members earn no interest for their participation in Tanda. Carrying such a large amount of cash is risky. Not having access to money for emergency expenses is stressful. Informal lending doesn't build an official credit history, thus members will not be all that. Who cares? You're not really interested in a loan from a bank if you have to do a tanda. When someone doesn't pay, it breaks confianza, trust between friends, and stresses close relationships. You better have the money to put toward the tanda, or else I'm going to break your knees. You understand? You can't give to a tanda without legs, without hands. With large tandas, payouts are infrequent. Members wait months for their turn to collect the pool. Yeah, that's why you should probably never have more than 10 people. Very, very interesting. Okay. Best financial advice I can give is to buy Bitcoin. That's not financial advice. Well, that's what the next part of this article is what is it? It's advantages of cryptocurrencies versus Tanda. That's funny. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think the kid's getting restless, and I think the wife is going to need help. Thank you guys for watching. I'll try to do a better job on Twitter and on Instagram of announcing any streams. Okay. Take care. God bless you, and may God have mercy on your souls.